We'll be hosting for the second time the Nuclear Energy Summit on Africa. Today, we are hosting Lassina Zerbo, the chairman of board of Rwanda Atomic Energy Board. You're very welcome.
Thank you.
So in this conversation, I want you to reiterate much on this summit, which is going to be hosted for the second time, as Rwanda is hosting the second version of the Nuclear Energy Innovation Summit on Africa. The theme and program focuses heavily on financing. So why on this theme specifically?
Financing will always be an issue. Okay, we had the first edition of this summit, thanks to His Excellency President Kagame, who believed that this is something we could do homegrown, having a solution for ourselves, organizing a conference that is Pan-African, by the African, and then inviting partnership to help us with the institutional framework and experience that they have, so that we can do the same in Rwanda and around Africa. And this second edition, indeed, focuses on financing because, I mean, that's the main bottleneck that we have in big projects like nuclear energy implementation. And we're inviting financial institutions. We have the World Bank, the African Development Bank, the West African Development Bank, and even the Rwanda National Bank is part of the discussion with us.
Yeah. Well, it's all about the African as a continent. So why is nuclear energy emerging now as a solution to clean energy and solution towards solving the energy deficit on this African continent?
So I tend to not agree that it's only now. We can say that it's now that we've managed to build the necessary trust for the African country to consider nuclear energy as the option, you know, on the way forward. Nuclear energy has always been there, but technology has evolved. Now we have a solution like small modular reactors who are more adaptable to the grid. The grid that we have, our electricity grid in our countries are not to the standard that will absorb, you know, quantities of power that we see with the conventional nuclear reactors. And that's why Rwanda has, at a very early stage, opted to go for the small modular reactors and the micro reactors as well.
Yeah. So let's talk about the impact of this nuclear energy, specifically, let's say here in Rwanda, on the Rwanda's industrialization goals. What gap would this address?
Many gaps. You know, we often see when people talk about nuclear energy in our part of the world, people first see the bomb, the atomic bomb.
Yeah, exactly.
But we're beyond that. We're talking about the pacific and peaceful use of nuclear energy, and it goes across the whole landscape. You talk about agriculture, you talk about medicine, you talk about food. You know, even mosquitoes, for instance, for that matter. With some of the nuclear technology, they can breed female mosquitoes and then or sterilize the male so that they don't multiply enough to flood a country and then create disease. So there are many applications for nuclear science technology that people are not well aware of. So we need to educate our population to get them used to the notion of peaceful use of nuclear science and technology, and then we'll get there.
Yeah.
And the gap will be filled across. But the main one is industrialization and development. Without nuclear, it will be difficult today to industrialize.
Yeah. So you literally understand that this needs to educate the population, and to sustain this industry, we need skills. So how do we get there?
I think how we get there, I think Rwanda has done well through the leadership of President Kagame, because there's been an institutional framework that allowed students from Rwanda to be trained in Russia, in Korea, in China, in the United States, for instance. And then to a point where today we have a critical mass of experts and scientists that are ready to help us move forward and then start the implementation of our projects. When I say start the implementation of our project, we have scientists that will do the technical work that will make the program feasible. And that's where we are in Rwanda.
Yeah.
And that thanks to the policy that the government has had for the past 5 years.
Yeah. So one last question before we conclude. What steps has Rwanda taken to implement its nuclear energy ambitions?
But I think
you've been part of the board for quite some years, so you know.
I've mentioned the necessity of an institutional framework. And to build that institutional framework, Rwanda has taken educating, capacity building, human capacity development. That's what they've done well. And then Rwanda has been championing its pre-feasibility study on its own, together with a technical partnership. But financially, they've done it. Not many countries in Africa have gone all the way to finance or pre-finance the pre-feasibility studies. And that's something great that Rwanda has done, which puts Rwanda today at a stage where both from the infrastructure point of view, and then you will hear that the Director General of the International Atomic Energy Agency will officially hand over the report that makes Rwanda moving from the first to the second phase of its implementation.
So lastly, you reiterated on it. When people hear about nuclear, they hear about bombs. They hear about wars because it's something which is trending across the world. How can they be reassured that these are safe technologies that can drive into transformation, specifically on this African continent?
I mean, there are two different things. You have the military application and then the peaceful uses of nuclear science and technology. People are more accustomed to the military application because of Hiroshima, because of Nagasaki, for what atomic bomb can do, or for a nuclear accident for Chernobyl or Fukushima. That's what people have heard a lot about. Why? Because that's where the media has gone all along. That's also where politics has done damage to the science here, because the politicians have used this to say nuclear is not a clean energy, it's dangerous, and then this has been going around, and then created a little bit of fear in the population, and then political issue among our politicians. And then I often say politics should not be on the way of science. We should let science do its way and then prove to the population what's great. Today, everyone agrees that nuclear is clean, and nuclear is climate resilient. And that's the base load that we need to electrify not only electricity for population, but to bring enough energy, resilient, stable, for our industry to develop, and then for our population to make good use of it.
Thank you, Lassina Zerbo, the chairman of the board of Rwanda Atomic Energy Board. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Thank you.